Salam alaikum, girl bosses. Vildhjarta is back with this new single, Den spanska känslan. And if you are dyslexic, that translates to the spanking clan. And this might be a hot take, but, personally, I think it'd probably be better if the clan just spanked people instead of, what they actually did. Don't laugh at that. Anyways, Den spanska känslan. I don't know what that means, but we're going to listen to some Thal. Their 2021 album, Staden under vatten. Staden underwater. Seagull Town underwater, I think is the literal translation. But that album was, I think, album of the year in 2021. So I'm very hyped. I'm very hyped to listen to the single. This is really quick, real quick for them. I feel like, usually they take like a decade to drop a song, but what a treat. Let's get into it. I really like this art. There's like some really like artsy stuff, and then there's like some kids' drawings incorporated. Lovely colors. Oh. Fuck, dude. I just love the way they do ambience. There's almost like a sort of optimism to their sound. I don't know what it's like, sad optimism though. Dude. I forgot, yeah, they like to reuse a lot of motifs, slip them in different ways. I think there's also some components of this section that we've also heard earlier in the song too, but it's different. Oh, how adventurous. I scare too easy. Okay, yeah, so building onto this motif. Damn, dude. Vildhjarta is back. This is... They're such an interesting band. I remember, like, you know, first hearing them, I was confused out my mind, but I knew I liked it, but I couldn't, like, really put much into words. I remember, man, my early reactions, I was just like, that was sick. I can't speak much on... on much else that I just listen to. All I know is that I like it. But, you know, after, you know, I'm a bit of a Vildhjarta veteran now. I still don't really know what's going on. But what I can say, it's a nice exercise in songwriting to really think about and analyze, you know, what they're actually doing with, like, their motifs to keep things together. Because there is a lot of, you know, it's that gent influence, that sort of seeming chaos, those, like, odd time signatures. You know, there's a lot of oddities. There's a lot of elements that are very hard, you know, to really grasp onto. But what they do leave for you to grasp onto are those motifs and those melodies that persist. Like that last, I guess, sort of like Spanish guitar melody that dominated the latter half of the song. You know, that was a melody that they transformed in different ways, put under different contexts to sort of keep, you know, the listener hooked in. It gives you something to stay grounded. And it's, like, really interesting to, like, think of the different ways to have, like, a very progressive song structure or a very linear structure where you have to have something to keep the listener rooted, but then you also kind of need to have, like, this sort of, maybe not constant, but just consistent introduction of novelty, right? So you know, you always need to change up. And if you're just, like, trying to jump ship from, like, one melody to completely different melody, like, you're pretty much cramming, like, a bunch of different songs together. Versus if you have 2-3 motifs and then you explore them to their absolute fullest, right? Where you have them just manifested differently. Maybe it's you lead it in with the ambience, and then you have, you know, rhythm guitars with the persist over, and then maybe you replace you know, the lead guitar was synth, but like that melody persists, and or you change the underlying rhythm. There's like many different ways to milk a motif. I've been like really studying music recently. Like I'm a much more active listener now. I think, you know, partially that's I think it's, you know, I've been reacting to so much new music, you know, at a point like you start noticing the patterns. And then also with songwriting for Sunscourge, I've had to be a more active listener to learn. I learn very much from listening versus, you know, reading or watching videos or tutorials. I like to hear, you know, if I notice something I really like, I like to really listen to it, pay attention to it. It's an interesting exercise. It's low-key started to ruin music for me. But, you know, we stay optimistic. Just try to look for more extreme stuff. Vildhjarta is among us. Vildhjarta is among us. Yeah, fucking sick stuff. And yeah, what I really think is the big takeaway from Thal is it's just the different ways to use a motif. You know, it's done by the same three people, but you know we got the new Humanity's Last Breath album, like, what was it, literally 10 days ago? That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Man, it's like the same three people, but there's still like so many different ways in which they manifest, you know, the Thal sound. You know, with Vildhjarta, it's the ambience. With Humanity's Last Breath, they're incorporating more deathcore elements or even black metal elements at times. It's just like the different balances that give each project, each Thal project, you know, very distinct sound from the others, which I find super impressive. I really think it's all about, I think conceptually, you know, the similarities lie in, you know, the general like ideas and the ideas behind the structuring of Thal music, and then a lot of the variability, or the structuring of Thal music, the use of motifs, and the variability comes in, you know, what sort of accompanies it. So generally it's like the ambience or the rhythm, the way those elements are executed in the context of Thal. It's really interesting stuff to think about, you know, just from like getting a more holistic understanding of what we're actually listening to. It's pretty cool stuff. I did like this quite a bit, because it seems like they're also like really adding on to their you know, their established sound. Still iconically Vildhjarta, which you know, like I said, it's very impressive that Thal has, it's just so much diversity when so many of the same people are involved in every single Thal project that gets released. But there's still so much diversity. It's really fantastic. I probably had a point there, and whew, speaking of the Kennedys, Jesus. Okay, yeah. Hope you enjoyed. But yeah, the Spanish guitar incorporation. There's just some really nice, sweet, savory, succulent stuff. I like that. I like that quite a bit.